If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key, and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Tell me a little bit about your role in the film that comes out later this week, Cosmic Sin.
I'm really excited about Cosmic Sin coming out. My role, the name of my character is Soul, and actually the character was written for a male originally. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to be able to play this really cool character that is this badass. She's a warrior. She's a sniper. She's actually one of the best snipers in the galaxy. And she, they're fighting for humankind. They're fighting for survival. And she might come across as super ruthless and with not a lot of empathy, but it's just because she's a fighter and she's a warrior. She's seen a lot of horrible things, and she knows that, like, if they're going to survive, if they're going to win this war, they got to keep on going and keep on pushing. And it comes out of loyalty.
Sure. And
undying loyalty. So that's my character.
So how did you prepare to get into the role of Sol Cantos? Obviously, I would say a lot of folks know you from your in-ring career and your WWE presence, but tell me a little bit about how it's different to prepare for film versus, coming through the curtain and stepping down to the ring.
Well, I think the way I prepared for Sol and Cosmic Sin, it happened really fast. It was about mid-February of last year that I got the script and got the audition. And within about less than 10 days, about 10 days, we were filming in Atlanta. And it was a crazy, crazy whirlwind because I had to kind of prepare. I was going to Saudi Arabia with WWE.
Sure.
So I went from like LA to Canada to Saudi Arabia, back to LA for 2 days, then to Atlanta. And I basically went to LA to work with my coach, Leslie Kahn, my acting coach. But it was just insane. It all happened like just a couple days before I was flying out to Canada, then to go to Saudi Arabia. I found out that they wanted to cast me, and I was like, oh my God. So I was preparing. I was preparing on airplanes.
Sure.
I was preparing via Zoom. I was preparing, with my coach. But there wasn't a lot of time. We shot it in 2 weeks. It was one at maybe here or there 2 takes. It was shot very quickly because, this pandemic was starting.
Right.
So there was all these rumbles. So it was like super panic mode to try to complete the master film before, no one knew what was happening. Mm-hmm. And thank God we had that urgency because we literally finished and wrapped the movie March, I believe 13th. It was like the last when everything got shut down.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say that's like 1 or 2 days removed from the quarantine starting, essentially.
Yes. And so it was wild. And so because of that, I had this huge bazooka. You know, she's the best sniper and she can shoot with a small gun, but she goes around with this huge bazooka that is about the size of myself. And so like I had to learn and it's really heavy, like super, super heavy. So thank God I did lift a lot of weight because I had to, you know, right on the spot, they were teaching us how to use the gun, maneuver it right. And so the pressure was high because usually I personally, I'm a workaholic and a perfectionist. So I would have loved to have a couple of days of rehearsals and practicing with like, you know, the stunt coordinator and fighting, you know, practicing with the gun and just feeling it. I mean, unfortunately, I just can't go buy a bazooka somewhere and just practice with that on my own time, you know?
Sure.
So, you know, we just had to do it then. And I think that's where WWE really helped me under that pressure. Because WWE, it's live television. You get one take only, and it's live TV. The whole world sees it. And our shows change all the time. Like I might get stuff from our showrunner Sunday, and then, you know, Monday at 4 p.m., the whole show gets changed. And that happens all the time. Like last week, I found out at 4:30 p.m. that I had a championship match against Nia and Shayna. And we won the title opportunity like 5 weeks ago. Yeah. And then at 4:30 p.m. we found out about that. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, the pressure's on. And so you kind of just have to stay ready. And that's why I stay in acting class. It's just to like continually trying to perfect that skill. And I continuously keep training and wrestling because you just never know when your opportunity is going to come. And I believe that is maybe what some people say luck is, you know, it's basically hard work meeting opportunity.
I would agree. And I would ask you, cause you mentioned it before you started working for WWE in 2013. Have you always been a perfectionist, or has working in an industry, you know, like wrestling, like you said, that is so kind of on the fly as it tends to be, have you noticed that it has kind of exacerbated your perfectionism? Or have you kind of embraced it even more because it kind of has to be that way?
Well, I think that probably the combination of life and my life and growing up in Russia probably is what instilled like discipline. Sure. And the perfectionist side of I think it's probably just my personality as well. I just like always, I want to do well. My mom would always say growing up, you just want to please everyone. You can't please everyone. And I think just that longing to do well and be accepted was like so deep in me as a kid. And that's probably a lot of the issues I've had to, you know, cope with, is understanding that you're never going to make everyone happy. But
bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
I think like growing up in Russia, you know, the former Soviet Union, as a little kid, you pick a profession and you master it and you go after it. Like at 5, 6, 7 years old, you do it 40 hours a week. So like, let's say if you want to be a hockey player, you know, my brothers were getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go practice hockey when they were 5 and 7. And, you know, the ballerinas do the same. And if you want to do the piano or an actor, you pick one thing and you put your heart, soul, and spirit into it. And then you audition every year and they make cuts. You know, it's still that very Soviet regime of how they train people. And I think that, you know, in America, a lot of people, they're the jack of many traits. You know, I see all the time little kids, like they'll go to ballet, they'll go to soccer, they'll go to gymnastics, karate, football.
Right.
And that's like, it's not like that there. You pick one thing and you become a master of it. And so I think that just instilled in me of going to the ballet school, dancing 40 hours a week, starting at 10 years old, like giving up my social life, giving up what most kids do to become a professional ballerina. And I think that just has helped. That is what helped me be successful in wrestling, to be honest, is, you know, when I started in WWE and started in NXT in the development program, I would come to all the extra training. I would go to all the extra promo classes. I would go into our promo room, literally like just like you didn't have to, every single day for hours practicing my acting. And I think just that like resiliency, because a lot of my Russian teachers, you know, they would say it's a very different method of teaching there, but they would be like, you're stupid or you're sad, or it's not really like the American way of teaching. And so it's
a mild way of putting it, a very mild way of putting it.
Yeah, very different. And so I think that just helped me really believe in myself, even if people don't believe in me. And so in wrestling and in WWE, when the fans say things, or even coworkers that I've worked with saying like, maybe I'm not strong enough or fast enough or this, you know, or, you know, not durable enough. That was always my favorite when I would hear I'm not durable enough. I'm like, you have no idea what I've been through. Like,
sure.
Please. And so I think like that really helped me. And then through that, just it's carried into everything, is that I don't want to do average work, you know, just coasting is, I don't want to just coast. I don't want to just get lucky. I want to be able to take every opportunity I get and blow it out of the water, at least do to the best of my ability, and hopefully get more opportunities.
Well, I was about to say, so I grew up in a household, my dad's dad was from Ukraine and came over during World War II to the United States. So you're preaching to the choir in my situation, because while my dad's dad wasn't Russian, it's still very much, I mean, he grew up in that same regimented style of doing things, be the best at one thing and that one thing only.
Yes. I mean, all of the Eastern Bloc, you know, my husband, Miro, and from Bulgaria, it's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
All that, just the Eastern Bloc and former Soviet Union mentality. And I think there's a lot of great things from it. I mean, I'm very thankful, and it instilled incredible discipline in me. And I don't know if I would be where I am if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, I 100% understand that, because in my own smaller situation, I feel the same way, because a lot of it is just the work ethic. Is just, I want to do the best that I can, regardless of how much time and effort I put into something. I want to keep putting time and effort in.
Totally. And I think that, you know, that is also a part of this, like, success in this industry, or in any industry that someone picks, is the marathon of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, yes, throughout our journey of whatever careers we pick in life, there's going to be a lot of people that do, like, you know, fast sprints, and you think they're getting ahead of you, and maybe they are, but it's like, you can't compare yourself to other people, and you just have to stay that course of doing the things you love, stay your course of trying to outwork everyone else, you know, trying to be better than you were yesterday. And I just think that type of mentality those are the people that win, you know, they're the ones that win the marathon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I am very much a marathon person, not a sprinter. The sprinter people are normally on the sideline anyways, so because they can't keep up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit because I actually watch wrestling, not as much as I used to, but around 2013 is when I was pretty big into it, thanks to my wife of all people.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
She was super into wrestling before we met, and then when we've been together for about a decade now, she really got me into wrestling, and it's one of those things that just kind of stuck, and not everything always sticks. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about 2013 because you obviously came into the WWE with the gimmick of the Russian accent and all of that, and now not so much anymore, obviously. How hard was it for you to transition away from that character initially in 2013 into, like you said, competing here pretty quick for the tag team titles? What has that transition been like for you?
I think that, early on, it was definitely in 2014 when I was first debuted on the main roster, formerly known Rusev, and, my husband and I, we both started doing this in NXT, and Triple H was very, very a part of building that character and helping us, and Dusty Rhodes as well. And then but I was speaking in Russian, and he was still coming from Bulgaria.
Right.
And then when we came to the main roster, probably about a month or two in, all of a sudden Vince had a vision for it. And
Bugs crashing your PAX party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
That's when we started the whole, he started to reside in Russia, and I was dedicating the matches to Vladimir Putin. And that was all Vince McMahon. That was his vision. He would write the promos. And it was really awesome because we were very clear on the direction, very clear of what our characters were. And then we could just dive into it and really make it our own. So that was really awesome. But I remember when that year, he was very hands-on. He said, we have to evolve. He goes, your character has to evolve. And he goes, over as people, we evolve. And so we can't stay the same. He goes, in years to come, you're not going to be the same person that you are today. And so he goes, your character shouldn't be the same, exactly the same that it is today. And that really stuck with me because I'm like, wow, it gave me, I was okay with the freedom of evolving and changing and not just wearing a bun imagine if I was still in a bun 7 years later and the same suit. As much as people talk about how much they love that time, they would be like, oh, she never changed, she never evolved, And
I would honestly, I don't know about you, I would be curious to see how that character would be received in 2021. 2013, 2014 was as long ago as it may not have been, it was a very much different time in so many ways.
100%. So that's why people like characters have to evolve. I also think that, I like to paint my character, the ravishing Russian Lana, as that she's intelligent and smart. And, sometimes her intelligence, that's what backfires. Is one of her greatest strengths, but it can also be her greatest weakness. And so, of course she's going to speak without an accent now. She's so talented after almost a decade of being here,
Yeah.
So like that's how I justify it from a character standpoint. I'm like, she got an dialect coach. She learned, she's intelligent. I mean, she managed, like, there's so many things that she did just because she's not the best in-ring competitor.
Right.
That's just another accolade she's trying to add to her list, So I think that's how I justify it from that standpoint. But like now looking back at everything, I think it's really cool of all these different chapters that Lana has had. I think it's really cool of all these different moments and evolving of how the ravishing Russian Lana has become. And I think I'm actually really grateful and for it all, to be honest. So I'm like, it's really cool. It's like literally transitioned. I know that probably in about 2016, they wanted me to lessen my accent. So I started like specifically lessening it.
Sure.
And then in 2019, when I came back with the whole Bobby Lashley story in the Rusev, they wanted me with no accent. And I had been off TV for like 4 months. So it was like a perfect time to do like something like fresh.
Sure.
In that sense.
Like a reboot.
So, and I'm glad. Yeah. And I was honestly, I love talking with an accent, but there is great things that come with it and also harder things that come with it. So like, I think that in general, I was funnier with an accent. It was like almost my funny. And so that I kind of missed that. I don't know. I think CJ's a little bit funnier to laugh at than actually be witty.
Sure.
But, and I think Lana like had this like funny aspect with the accent, which I liked. But I think as an actor, it's more challenging for me to just speak English, because you can't hide behind anything.
Right.
And like with no accent. And so I like that because then especially, it's just challenging, I want to constantly be learning and challenging myself. Who's to say? Maybe I'll start speaking Spanish one of these days.
Well, and the thing about your character in the WWE that I think I don't know why it hasn't gotten mentioned enough, but again, there's a lot of chatter on the internet. I'm sure everybody in the WWE locker room drowns it out, and I don't blame you guys, but their escorts aren't like a thing anymore to the ring. And like when they show up like you did in 2014, and as successful as you were, which you were very successful at getting Rusev heat, it's like harkens back to a day and age of wrestling that just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, people lament the lack of escorts now to the wrestling ring. It's a lost art. And it was really interesting to see you and Rusev bring it back in a way that really was so successful.
Yeah, I was extremely grateful for that. I mean, I absolutely love managing. I love managing girls and guys. I love managing the men. I feel like sometimes we get a little bit more time on the mic in the male stories.
Sure.
And so that both with Rusev and with Bobby, that was the most I ever had mic time. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And humbled to have that opportunity. I think, with Rusev, it's funny because with Rusev, when I managed him, I got booed out of the building for sure, but I was also dedicated to Vladimir Putin and,
right, yeah.
USA.
You were supposed to get booed.
Yes. And so I always felt like, and then Rusev was really, really, really hated at the time. Like by far, like his music hits booed out of the door. But it was interesting at the time, like if you played my music, I would get a cheer. And not until I started like dedicating to Vladimir Putin and would I get booed. And so I always knew it was kind of the shtick. And then I remember when Eva Marie was doing stuff, she would get booed out of the building. And I just always say, like, we have to have heels. We have to have really strong bad guys. If you don't have a strong villain, like a villain that you just want demolished, you don't need saving. You don't need a hero. And in 2015 was such a great villain that he set up me to be, like, turned into one of the biggest good guys on television in 2015. That the whole place was chanting, "We want Lana." And that was because he had committed to his role so much that when he was like mean to me and tried to like fire me and kick me back to Russia, the whole place got behind me. And I just think, like, once again, that's such an example of the importance of having really good villains. So when I was approached to do the Bobby Lashley story with Rusev, I remember thinking, first of all, I was like shook that they wanted me the villain and Rusev the good guy. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I always love acting with my husband. Like, I love actually our fighting stuff is some of my favorite stuff because we get to fight like at each other. And when you have really good chemistry and trust, it's like, you know, you can just create magic. And I just remember being like, my goal from this, like, I really want to be one of the most epic villains. Like, I want to be so hated. And I go, I'm going to commit to it so hard, you know, because I want you to be such a good guy, like for people to love you so much. And I remember all at the live events and stuff with Bobby, like I was booed so loud. Like, I don't remember when someone got booed so loud in a long time. And then, like, constantly they would say, like, if I wasn't on the live event, if Bobby was, of like how that almost like I was booed more than Bobby. And so I was really grateful for that because I just didn't know. Sometimes in wrestling it's a little bit harder for the girls to get booed as loud as the guys. You know, one, we need mic time. There needs to be a story, you know, and all these different things. So I was like really, really grateful for that, to be able to achieve that. And I don't think I would ever have been able to achieve that without being given all that promo time and mic time with the boys. So, you know, I love what I'm doing right now. I love competing. I love being an in-ring competitor and going after the championship. It's truly my dream. I've wanted that for so long, and I've been training for so long for that, behind closed doors that people don't know about. But, you know, when this chapter of the Ravishing Russian Lana is over, I would love to manage some more boys to, you know, come after that championship, come after MVP. I mean, you know, he took my Lana still has a little chip over her shoulder towards.
I was gonna ask because like Bobby Lashley's champion now, so he took that opportunity. I mean, storyline opportunity, but
totally. I love to talk in third person as the Ravishing Lana, and the Ravishing Russian Lana, she definitely remembers that. She's just scheming and plotting when the strike, but she also knows like she needs to establish herself. She's obsessed with becoming champion. She knows that for her to establish her legacy, she needs that. And, but she remembers everything that MVP said to her. She remembers everything that MVP took away from her. And, you know, she couldn't be happier for Bobby Lashley and that he's champion. And because that means that when the time is right, she'd love to bring some men that just might take that championship from him and, you know, maybe slap MVP at it. You never know. You never know what would happen, but that's what Lana wants to do one day.
So I want to ask you, because you brought it up and it is something I have been very curious about. Have you ever gotten a sense that something like what you're talking about, because that is a little bit of long-term booking in a way, right? I mean, I'm not saying people don't remember your time with Bobby Lashley. I would assume everyone does. Do you think that internal logic that the fans have, do you think that it sometimes gets lost in translation into the way the product is booked? Because I would agree with you that your character has every right to, in the future, as soon as possible, come back and say, you know, I want to see you dethroned because you're with them now, not with me. Do you think that sometimes that kind of gets lost in translation?
Well, I think that, you know, I've always been a person that I write ideas down. I have a journal, mini journals for Lana. You know, she's always plotting and scheming, but just like in life, even when we plot and scheme and we write goals and dreams for us, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. Right. You know, that doesn't mean life is actually going to give us that. And that's, I think, the same way as like, yeah, Lana's hoping for, you know, journaling this stuff and she's sharing this stuff to you, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen in life for her. And, you know, that's the beauty of it, is because she's going to take whatever is thrown at her. And just like CJ is going to take whatever's thrown at her. And I think that, you know, at the end of the day, Vince McMahon is a director. And it's his show, and it is a scripted television show. And I wouldn't be arguing with Shonda Rhimes if my character had to say something or get sick or die. No, she's the showrunner. She's the director. It is her show. You should do to the best of your ability. I mean, that's why we're hired actors. We're hired, WWE superstars. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's not my job to know what translates and what doesn't. It's my job to take whatever it's given to me and do the best of my ability, like try to crush it, and then hopefully not get killed by the fans online.
I didn't know how comfortable I would feel asking you WWE questions, because I know the perception of the kind of people who would ask you the kinds of questions that I'm not going to ask you, because I don't give a shit about spilling the tea or giving assholes on the internet something to talk about. So the beginning of the interview, I mentioned the WWE thing because I had trepidation asking you about it, because I know that there is a lot of separation, compartmentalization in the business. I at least understand that there has to be. And so I was worried about asking about anything because I'm not trying to stir up shit on anybody. Do you know what I mean? And like, I know some people are going to try to, if given the opportunity to speak to someone in the wrestling industry. I'm genuinely in love with how kind of insular and bizarre wrestling is as an industry, because it is kind of its own weird thing that still exists in 2021 that is more insular than most businesses that operate out in the open are.
No, it's definitely nothing like it. That's for sure. I mean, it's live television. It's a live television show. It's a predetermined scripted live television show. It's also sports entertainment. We're professional.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Athlete, there's singers, there's dancers, there's pyro, there's every time we talk, it's scripted. It's not just like, I like to say I'm 1,000 decisions, space of 1,000 decisions I never made, There you go.
No, I completely understand that. Like I said, it's just to me, it's just a fascinating industry. It really is.
I love working for WWE. I've learned so much. Not only have I grown as an actor and a performer, and an athlete, but also just I've learned so many incredible life lessons from working there. And for that, I will always be extremely grateful.
What was your favorite memory of you and Miro working together?
I mean, of course, WrestleMania 31 when I came out with an army and he came out with a tank, he fought John Cena. That was for the USA Championship. That was amazing. That was an amazing story. That was an amazing moment. Wow, I still can't believe it. I also really enjoyed a lot of things that him and I did with in the Dolph Dolph Ziggler story with Summer, with he was such a great villain. And like, I go back, watch those promos now with him and I will just laugh my ass off. Like literally, I'm just like, oh my God, he's just so good. And the story was so, I mean, the internet hated on it, but ironically, the internet hates on anything that apparently just explodes in digital numbers. Like, I think my kiss Dolph Ziggler is like at 82 million. There's one like 52 and the other one's 82 million YouTube views. And it's like, people can hate on it as much as they want, but like the viewership shows.
It's a vocal minority. It's just that people, it's they want the wrestling, right? And like, I don't fault them for it, but at the same time, if it was just wrestling, it would just be world wrestling, no entertainment. The entertainment aspect of it it's part of it. It has to be.
Yes. And I think for me, that's what I love so much. Like, I love the sports part about it and obviously the competition. I'm so competitive, but I love entertainment. Like, I love the storytelling part and I love the relationship drama. I'm totally the girl that watches all the soap operas on television and all, like, every Grey's Anatomy I'm still watching. I am that person. So, I love like having like conflict having conflict, like who's the best in-ring competitor with on top of it, or fighting for a championship on top of it, having relationship drama. That's what they do in Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, they have the problem they have to solve in the episode, like save a life. But then they also have like relationship drama. Someone's cheating. Someone has a new crush. Someone's having a baby. Someone's baby dying. Like all that. Like, are they going to get back together? Are they not? And so like, that's what I really enjoyed about all my stories with Miro on television was, was constantly like our thread was kind of each other. And, we would be together and then we would break up. And then like, another favorite moment was with Roman Reigns when he crashed our wedding. We were back together, that trended for days. And then we got another divorce. So like, of course, there's so many things with Bobby and there was just that when I got arrested, that was probably definitely one of my favorite moments. I always wanted to get arrested on television. So that was pretty fun. There's so many.
Where do you see your character? So you've been in the WWE for 7 years now. Where do you see your character 7 years from now? And for all the internet dickheads who will hear this part, where do you see your career 7 years from now in WWE? Just so we can put that on it, so there can't be any bullshit of anything.
I love that. I think I want it all. I'm going to become champion. No, that is a very, very brave thing to say. And I know a lot of people think that's impossible, but
I think it'll happen.
I believe. That's what I'm working towards. I'm going to keep on saying until it happens. I want to become champion. I want to become, Naomi and I to have the tag titles. I would love to bring a man to become champion, WWE champion for sure. I would love to bring a woman to becoming a WWE champion. I would love to be known as the best manager in history. And I know that's really hard because Paul Heyman is epic, literally iconic. So, it's very high. I would love, I've always dreamt of going into a program with Paul Heyman, if it was with Brock or now with Roman. That's has always been a big dream of mine. And I would, I guess, secretly love to bring Miro back.
Sure.
Of course, but there's so many more things. I want to be general manager for sure. Boss some bitches around.
Sure.
I want to have a match with Stephanie McMahon. I want to go into a story with her. She's like, Stephanie McMahon is one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, that's why I wanted to get in wrestling, is because of Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman too. Yeah. Stephanie, so many of her stories, I loved her stories. And so, God, I would dream of going to a story with her one day. And I would like to have some really good matches. I don't want people just to think of me of someone that's great on the mic and cares. I want someone to think back and be like, actually, Lana had some really, really good matches with Sasha Banks, with Charlotte, with Becky, with Bayley, with Asuka. That's what I want. Before I don't want to I have a lot to do in the ring still as an in-ring competitor. And I'm just so grateful that I now get that. And I'm just going to really focus on that until the next chapter begins, you know? In WWE. My next chapter in WWE.
It is funny though, because you mentioned the whole idea of, you don't want to be known as just, a good worker on the mic. It is very rare to see a manager transition into a talent, as in, in-ring talent, wrestling capacity. I mean, that is a very big mountain to climb, obviously.
Yeah.
And you're still climbing it, which is, again, it's beyond impressive.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's definitely, just to let alone letting people see you not in just that manager role. It's like you constantly have to go out there and prove yourself. But, I am durable. I am resilient. And, I grew up in Russia. They survived the Cold War.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But we, you know how it goes. And I think that's what also I'm really extremely grateful, because I have the Russian upbringing, but also the American mentality, and my parents are still American. And so it's really that America, we really are the land of opportunity. We do say never give up. We do believe hard work leads to profit, and the sky's the limit. And I'm so glad I have that mentality combined with the ruthless Russian discipline and strength of endurance. But I think, the combination, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, again, with what you're talking about, with the kind of the dual mentalities, I think that is something important, because again, I wouldn't want to be in your way in that locker room, knowing what I know about, similarities, similar backgrounds with upbringings. I wouldn't want to be in your way, if I was in the locker room. Yeah.
So. Thank you. Well, a really cool thing that I saw online, a whole bunch of fans posted that in 2020, I wrestled more than any other woman on Monday Night Raw.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I was like, here we go. The slow and the steady. I'm going to win this.
And I mean, last year you were the lone survivor.
I was. Oh my gosh. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. That was an incredible experience. I really wanted to get in and wrestle. I really wanted, but Nia and Shayna were the big bullies that they were with Lacey and Peyton, and they just wouldn't allow me, unfortunately. And then it really backfired, and I was the lone survivor. And I just think it reflects my life. You can bully me, you can mock me, you can try to embarrass me. I am going to outlast you. And I will still be here, and I will be here with a smile on my face, counting my blessings.
I 100% believe it, because again, it can't be easy in some respects. Just the chatter, I'm sure, can't be easy. So. Yeah,
it's definitely, but it comes with the territory, I guess, that what we're signing up for. And, but that's why focusing, I think, if it's someone's a social media influencer or an actor or anything that's performing, we have to focus really on our mental health so much and building ourselves up, because if we're always looking for the approval out there, especially being an artist and a performer, even, an athlete, you want to get the approval of your fans, the approval of the public, the approval of people. Right. And then in time when we're not interacting with people as much, it's just on social media, I think people sometimes tend to be a little bit meaner online. Actually, not sometimes, usually majority of the time.
It's almost a 99% guaranteed that anonymity on the internet breeds just trolls and spiteful shitheads.
Yeah, it's insane. It's people are going to say that to you in real life a lot of the times, but they will when they can hide behind their computer. And I think that's why, this past year, I've had to take so much time and working on my mental health, because it was being so affected by all the negativity and all the cyberbullying. And it just made me really understand that I want to use my platform to speak out about it, because, if I feel this way, then what does a 12-year-old girl feel like? I mean, when I was 13, 14, life was hard in itself, let alone not having social media.
Yeah.
So just encourage people to be kind and be kind to one another, encourage one another. Just never know what nice words could do to someone. It could literally save someone's life.
Yeah. And I think it's really admirable to use your platform for that, because again, people do listen, I mean, you have like you said, you have a platform. Why not use it for good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to ask though, because you mentioned, the social media aspect of your profession, when you talk with other people in your profession, do they echo the same thing? Do they say the same thing? Like this social media, chatter and stuff like that? Like I'm assuming it wears everybody down, right?
Oh, for sure. 100%. And I think like some people might get it more than others. Like
Sure.
If you're a villain or a heel on WWE television, you're definitely going to get it more faces, the good guys. So someone like me, who the majority, out of, 8 years of being signed to WWE, about 7 of them, I was a bad guy. And a lot of it, I was like a really hated bad guy. I wasn't just the cool bad guy. I wasn't like Alexa Bliss, the cool bad guy, or, Becky Lynch when she first turned heel. No. I was the bad guy that people wanted to, in movies that you want dead.
Yeah, you were a heel. You were a heel in the mold of very classically regarded heels.
Yeah. So I'm so thankful, because when I started WWE, if you would have told me I'm going to be like, this really hated bad guy, I would have been like, what? I love people. I'm always happy. Like, what are you talking about? I'm #blessed.
Right. Sure.
So as an actor, it was great, because I really had to challenge myself and dive into this something unfamiliar area. And that's what I really like about being a good guy now, and this like really underdog baby face, is that it's, once again, I haven't, Vince was like, I want you to be the sweet, vulnerable sweetheart. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, I've never even had that adjective used to describe.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Me in my life.
Right.
So I'm like, this is cool. Like, I really let me dive into this. Like, I like this new chapter, this new character, and I like challenges. It's a lot harder to be a good guy than a bad guy in my opinion. But like all that stuff carries over into social media. And so for me, who, let's say someone watched it for 5 years and then they haven't watched it in, let's say 2 years, they would still think me like as a hated bad guy. So I think that really does carry over into social media, and it takes time to change. If someone's the majority a good guy, the majority of their career, they probably do have a very different reception online. Because our fans think we are literally our characters. Like, they literally think Lana is CJ versus like, no, it's Lana's the character CJ and Vince McMahon have created.
Right.
Well, essentially McMahon created and I have just like executed.
And it's really odd, right? Because obviously we're sitting down here initially to talk about a film that you're in. I don't think actors in Hollywood get that same reaction unless you're known as playing like, Anthony Hopkins, like Hannibal Lecter or something to that effect, where it's a character that is in pop culture forever now. But I don't think that actors have to deal with that same kind of bizarre crisis of identity in a way, because it's a little bit of a crisis of identity. Because like I sitting here talking to you, you are a extremely pleasant, well-spoken person who I have enjoyed interviewing. But like you said, like, why would anyone think that you're like your character? It's a character.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely think it's kind of like comes with the territory of wrestling. I think because, it wasn't until the 80s that people knew that it was actually even scripted.
Right.
So like television and film, people think, oh no, 100%. People know it's scripted, but like when people really hate it, I mean, I bet you we go into like the comic book genre of film or, I mean, I read a whole bunch of stuff on Game of Thrones of Joffrey the King.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's why like he was so hated. And so I think that I think television gets it a little bit more than film, because film is like, unless it's like a franchise of stuff where like the person is a villain for like 6 movies.
Right.
I think that, it's one and done, and then you move on to the next movie and the new character. While like a television show, like if it's on for 10 years, you keep on seeing, or 8 years, or Joffrey was 5, he was on Game of Thrones. You keep on seeing that person, and then you just, you dive so much into believe, the person is good. They make you believe. And so I do think it's in WWE, it's ongoing television all the time. And I think that's, we blur our characters. It depends on who, but I blur my character on social media for sure. I just think it's more interesting for everyone.
Well, and I think that is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the kind of person who, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the best that I can. And if I were in that similar position, I would be blowing up Twitter with the most heelish bullshit possible, because why wouldn't you, right?
For sure.
If you're going to, I mean, you have done your job so well that people don't like you because you did your job so well. Like, oh, darn.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope, exactly. And that's what I hope, like, over time, like, when you go in 7 years from now, like, I hope 7 years from now, people will be like, Lana Perry is one of the greatest storytellers of all time. Like, and that's how people will think of the character Lana, is that like she has seamlessly gone through so many stories and so many chapters and evolutions of a character, just like as people we do, that people look back and be like, wow, she's one of the best of all time.
Where do you see your film career going? Where would you like for your film career to go? Because you obviously have very lofty goals that I again, me personally, I think they're more than achievable given, your work ethic. What are your goals for outside of wrestling, more specifically film, but just kind of in general?
I always have very, very big goals and dreams.
It's a good thing.
I just say you got to shoot for the moon. I mean, you got to shoot for the stars, and at the very least, you'll land on the moon.
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely would like to produce more, for sure. I produced one movie with my brother, Another Versions of You, and you can watch it on Amazon. And that was an incredibly fun experience. I love working with my family. I think my brother's incredible. So we're talking about doing another movie. So a couple different things. So that's in conversation. I would love to do that. I think if I set a crazy dream, it would definitely be to land some type of franchise of like an action thriller movie. Like, I mean, in the ideal world, like a comic.
Sure. I was going to say a Marvel movie, perhaps, or probably Marvel, maybe less DC, but probably Marvel.
Yes, exactly. But, or like a sci-fi,
sure.
That's the cool thing. And they've been talking about, even with Cosmic Sin, is that I was just talking to the producer this week of how they really, it was made as a franchise. So they're hoping that there will be sequels that
sure.
will be made. So that's, would be great. But like, definitely to do something. I mean, everyone wants to be the superhero, but I think it would be really cool to be like a sick ass villain.
Well, I will level with you and say that Marvel needs more villains and less heroes, because for me, at least, I have always had an issue with Marvel's lack of compelling villains. It took them 20 movies to get to a point where they were comfortable enough having a villain be the lead of the film with Avengers Infinity War. So I think they need more villains, and I think they need more female villains, frankly, because Cate Blanchett did a great job, and I hope to God they start having more female actors playing the villains.
Yes, I completely agree. And I really hope, that's what I loved about Cosmic Sin is like they took a risk on making this role that was written for a man, for a woman. And like, yes, she's ruthless and seems, maybe not the kindest person, but it's like, I'm glad that they decided to give that role to a woman. And I'm hoping that this will happen more often. And I'm really, really hoping and fighting and praying and just trying to put it out there in the universe is that, like what you said, that we do see more really strong leading characters given to women. And if it's the lead villain or, the lead villain can be the antagonist or the protagonist, depending on how it's, the movie scripted. That's what I want to see more of in the industry. And of course, I would love to, get lucky and land one of those roles.
Well, I mean, you already have the visibility down pat. It's not like they wouldn't be casting you for not having seen what you've done before, at least. So, there is that. You have a body of work, which should help, I would think. But.
Thank you. Well, that's why, I mean, I don't necessarily always believe in luck, but then sometimes like I do feel in this industry that people, you have so many incredible talented actors and beautiful actors and skilled fighters that are actors. And, there's so many to pick from. And then, so which one is actually picked? People could say it's God, people could say it's destiny, people could say it's luck, and, but whatever it is, I hope I get some of that. Like Sasha, like Mercedes, Sasha Banks, she got Mandalorian. And I just think, so incredible. And some people might say it's luck. Some people might, whatever people want to call it. But like, I think that's a perfect example that incredible things can happen. And I'm hoping that I get lucky how she did.
Well, and I mean, there have been a lot of folks that have really paved the way for, because I mean, it is weird, right? Because there is kind of this, and I think it's completely unfair. I think it might be justified in some people's cases, and I won't say who, but I think in some respects it might be justified. There's this weird kind of area that wrestlers exist in where they're not taken seriously as actors. And I don't get that, because look at someone like John Cena, look at someone like Dave Bautista, look at Stone Cold. I mean, varying degrees of success, obviously, but I've never understood discounting wrestlers as actors, because that's part of your job inherently.
Yeah, definitely. I see that a lot. I see that as like wrestlers with like the acting thing. I see that in the fashion world. I see it's just like we're constantly having to break a stigma for some reason. And
there's no lane to stay in.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that like people just don't realize. They don't realize that we, just like any TV show, you have good actors and you have bad actors. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we could take any television show on TV that we would say be like, some people, they're awesome, and some people are like, questionable of how they got it over everyone else that's better.
Of course.
But that's entertainment business, it's so subjective. And but the one thing that we do is like, we are live action stars, so we can do our own stunts.
Right.
We are fighters, we are storytellers, we are actors. We design our own gear. There's just so much that we are that I don't think people realize, and we just are going to continue to break barriers and show entertainment industry and the sports world that there's nothing like us in the entire world. We do it all.
I think it really works in your favor. Because, I mean, you've seen what, John Cena and Dave Bautista have done to help pave that way. And especially, obviously, I mean, the one person that obviously I think did more than anyone, The Rock. But he is such his own special case that it's almost unfair to bring him up in a conversation, given how insanely successful he's been.
It's insane. I can't wait to see women do what The Rock and John Cena and Bautista did.
I agree.
incredible to see what Sasha's doing, the Bellas, so many other women. And I'm excited that we're going to continue breaking down barriers, and we're going to be doing things that no women have been able to do before. And partly is because of women who have gone before us, paving the way and shining even when they weren't given opportunities to shine.
Yeah. No, it's what you're 100% right. And it's, that's kind of the thing that gets lost in all of this is we are where we are now, especially the wrestling industry is where it is, or the entertainment industry is where it is, because some people got kicked in the teeth over and over again and just kept smiling. And like, it's never gonna, if people always continued to lay down while they were being kicked, no one would be where they are now. I don't think anyone in the industry would if people just sat there. I mean, even Vince McMahon starting WWE, I mean, they told him he couldn't do it. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a perfect example of like not listening to what everyone says he can and can't do. And I think that is a lesson that many of us, can, take that chapter and put it in our book, is that, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell us no and that we can't do something, and we just have to go and find another way, build another path, build a tunnel, build a bridge, go to another door, find a way. You can't take no for an answer and just stop.
No.
You won't get far in entertainment or pretty much any industry at that, I feel like.